Hey guys, welcome to today's 3-minute Bible study. Today I want to talk about fear. How can we defeat fear? To answer that question, I want to go to Nehemiah chapter 6, where we find a man named Nehemiah who was struggling with some scary situations. See, he had just been blackmailed by his enemies who were trying to scare him so that he would stop doing the work of God. But here was his response. This is how Nehemiah defeated fear. Nehemiah chapter 6, starting in verse 9, he says, "All my enemies, for they all wanted to frighten us, thinking, oh, their hands will drop from their work and it will not be done." Now, here's the key. This is the prayer. "But now, O God, strengthen my hands." Now, O God, strengthen my hands. Do you know how to defeat fear in your life? What are you scared of? What are you going through that is nerve-wracking, that just causes all sorts of questions and uncertainty and sleepless nights? How do you defeat fear? Well, the answer is right here. It is in prayer. Now, when I say that, I think what many of us hear is we hear me saying, oh, you need to pray. Just pray and your fear will go away. God, just get rid of this fear, and then God will answer it if you have enough faith. That's not really the case. See, God doesn't necessarily get rid of fear. What he does is he gives us something stronger to hold on to. That's what Nehemiah prays. He doesn't say, God, get rid of this scary thing. God, get rid of my fear. No, he says, God, strengthen my hands. What is fear, after all? Well, fear is a relational term that draws a contrast between two perspectives or 2 points of view. Fear says this thing is bigger than this thing. This thing is bigger and therefore scarier than this thing. When we say I'm afraid of something, we are saying it is bigger, more powerful, more in control than I am. Therefore, I am scared of it. So in order to defeat fear, God shows up and says, no, I am bigger. I am more powerful. I am more in control. So when we pray, we are not saying, God, get rid of this scary thing. No, we are rather refocusing on who is bigger, and that's God. And that's what Nehemiah is doing. He says, God, strengthen my hands. He's looking to the bigger person, God himself. Now, here's the end of the story. Skip down to verse 15. It says the wall. Now, this was Nehemiah's work to rebuild the wall. The wall was finished on the 25th day of the month Elul in 52 days. And when all our enemies heard of it, all the nations around us were, get this, afraid. And they fell greatly in their own esteem, for they perceived that this work had been accomplished with the help of our God. So how do we defeat fear? We need to find someone who's stronger than what we're afraid of. Someone who's greater, someone who's bigger than what we were scared of. And that person is God. So let me close by asking you, what are you afraid of? Typically, I think we're afraid of 2 things. Number 1, we're afraid of what people think of us. Or number 2, we're afraid of what might happen to us. Now, these 2 things can go together as well. But typically, these are our 2 fears. And I think that right now, there's a lot of fear. I see a lot of fear in our world. People wondering, what might happen to me? With all this pandemic and sickness going around, what might happen? And honestly, it's a scary thing. So how do we defeat that fear? Do we say, God, get rid of this thing? Would you get rid of this fear in my life? Would you just cure that? Maybe, but I think what God really wants from us is for us to turn our attention to him, knowing that he is bigger, and to pray like Nehemiah prayed, God, strengthen my hands. That is how you defeat fear.